What's up, guys? In last week's video you saw the introduction of the EF sedan project. That's being put aside for now until I can gather a couple more parts. Can't really do much else while I'm waiting for those to come in. And I promise you we're going to get to work on Jackson. This one we're just waiting to set up a tune session. I have some videos coming out once we get that taken care of so I can show you the mods that I've added to it since the last video on this car. But today I want to show you another project that I picked up. I had no intention of buying it. I just ended up having the opportunity to buy it. A local guy had owned it. I had met him online and then at an event called Honda Day back in August of 2019. I love the car. He just let me check it out. Really clean example of an Integra. And it has some solid mods on it, and for me it was kind of a no-brainer whether I decide to keep it or end up taking some parts off it, parting it out, maybe put a different swap in it. Who knows, but I don't have any of those intentions right now. I want to get to work on it a little bit. I have a few parts I'd like to install and take you along and see if you enjoy this particular car today. Original engines in particular cars like this, like a 95 GSR, are always nice, but in this case it doesn't have that. It has a JDM ITR swap with the S80 LSD transmission, so at least it's a better swap than the original one that's in there. Obviously more powerful, I guess more expensive if you want to look at it that way as well. I never like keeping wheels on a car that someone had on it before me, so it kind of worked out perfectly. One of my friends in town, we'd been talking about trading wheels and tires, and when I got this car it kind of worked out perfect. There were some Koenig hypergrams. They were like a gloss, or like a matte gray, I guess. They were 15 by 7.5. It had some 205/50 Neogens. It looked nice on here, but I needed to definitely change up the style of it. Worked out perfect. He had these RPF ones, 15 by 7 plus 41. Has two RSRR tires on the front. Unfortunately, there's two skinny ones on the back. There's some 205/50 like Zyx, Falcon Zyx, discontinued. Regardless, doesn't matter. We're going to pull these off the car today, and I got two new RSRs we're going to put on there so we have a matching set of little stickier tires. And we're going to put those wheels and tires onto Jackson today. And then we're going to put on, this is a set of 15 by 8 plus 32 buddy clubs. I bought brand new RSRRs for these also. I initially picked these up because I wanted to put them onto the CRX, but I really, at first when I put the 5 Ziggins on there, it wasn't doing much for me. It's really grown on me, and I love the way it looks on there now, so I'm going to leave those alone. I think the RPF ones look great on here, so I can get these tires removed, maybe get the wheels either powder coated or painted, or I don't know, just set them aside for now. But the RPF ones I think will look fantastic on there, and I think the buddy club will look really cool on here. Now this car has some sort of Eibach lowering kit. It's like some spring and shock combo along with some sway bars. We're gonna pull those off, and if you follow me on Instagram you may have seen that there was a second white Integra that I parted out, not the one I made a video of. I ended up scooping up these blocks, Tuner Series coilovers off of it. None of them are wet, so it looks like it's a good indication that they're all still working perfectly fine. I'm gonna throw those on, that way we can get a better ride height on this one today. I think this one just sits a little too high, and it's a nice ride, it feels great, but it's more for like an everyday, kind of like daily driver, I think. And if you're curious on this Integra, this is one that I picked up, I think it was towards the summer of 2020. A friend he'd bought, I'm not sure. He'd bought the hatch off me off that one I parted out. And he thought it was going to fix his issue with it like hanging over the back here. It just needed to be kicked out. You may have seen on my Instagram story, I made a little video of me kicking it out, see if I still have it on my phone. Regardless, I put it on there, kind of finished that up. The car it's solid, but it's ugly. He's had it for a long time. Someone had vandalized it. They threw some paint stripper on it, which is really effed up. Has a low compression B20 in here that he had a shop install a few years back. Function form type 1s. I'm gonna take off. It has a Skunk 2 front camber kit. We're gonna use that on the black Integra. I can't remember what kind of rear camber kit. I think it might be a Blocks. Regardless, I'm gonna take those function forms off. I think I'm gonna throw the Eibach off from here onto there at the same time. That way I can kind of lift it, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this car. I may end up selling it, make a little profit off it, but I don't know when that's gonna be. It might be a month from now, it might be 6 to 7 months from now. But it's great because I can use a couple parts from this car, help out with this so-called build for now. So we're gonna get started. I should be able to knock all these out today. Suspension's generally pretty quick, as long as there isn't any snags. It's even more crazy is like, you guys consider me an EF dude, but in 2020 I bought 5 Integras. Like I had to think about it right now when I was talking about these two. And that's just wild. Now the first one I bought, obviously the Type R, that was a no-brainer. 97 Type R, you don't see these coming out often. Bought that in March. In April, I ended up buying that white parts car I made a video of. And then in, I think it was like July, I bought that other white one. Yeah, it had to be July because it was like so hot out when we towed it home. And then this one I bought like a month later, maybe in August, as I sold that rear hatch from the other one when I parted it out. And then this one in December. So who knows what 2021's gonna bring. I told myself I'm not gonna buy any more parts cars, but sometimes it's hard to like say, think about it, I only paid $700 for that. But the thing about that is I need the time, and I would love to get some more work done on these. And especially on this guy over here, like, you know, he's been sitting for a year and a half now. Doesn't really bother me, just because I've been so busy with other stuff. And I have the car, I just need to throw a new engine in it or get the old one rebuilt. Same with this dude, I haven't watched this guy in forever. So we'll get to them eventually, guys. I know channel doesn't move as quickly as it used to with life, and I guess that's dad life for you. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and hope you guys enjoy the video today. Got the FF Type 1s off. Gonna throw the blocks on now. Those Eibach are actually really nice. It's a spring and shock combo. The car rode phenomenally. It's great for like an everyday thing. I think it'll be perfect on the LS. Now I'm just gonna clean up the Skunk 2 camber kit, get that installed too. Another nice upgrade that it came with were the wheelwood calipers. Put in a little elbow grease, spent the last 30 minutes cleaning these up, and they look significantly better. Just use a little bit of water, a couple brushes to get all of the caked on dirt off. So the camber kit we're not going to use. I'm just going to leave that alone. And let's get these function forms off. Look at all the cobwebs and stuff that is kind of caught. So here's a look at the drop after just installing them, and I didn't touch them at all. I didn't realize the other car that it was on, it was that low. Looks good though, that looks really sharp. The front, I don't think I'm gonna have any issues. Like I can just have my guy adjust the camber. The rear, a little different story. It looks like it's gonna rub right there. So next I'm gonna buy a nice camber kit. I'll probably just get a Skunk 2 as well. I don't know if I want to roll the fenders. I'm just gonna pull it in a little bit, run like a -2 camber, and then get it aligned and just leave it like that. I need to see if these coilovers settle a little bit. I want to even it out because the front's a little bit lower than the rear. The rear is a little more my style. Maybe like the fender right on the top of the tire. This one, it's tucking a little bit, but it looks so much nicer like this. I love it. So I'm done getting parts off this car today. Set it aside and continue working on the black Integra. Another thing I'm going to address today is the radiator has a slow leak. He said it had been like that for a while. He ended up buying an OEM Honda. He said it was a Type R one from HMO. So we're going to throw that on just to alleviate the leak. I also picked up a little eBay urethane lip. Should look pretty sharp on here. It's just one that sits on the bottom of the bumper. One thing I did right now also, drained the coolant block. It had a bunch of green radiator fluid in there. I'm not a fan of that particular fluid in these particular cars. So went ahead and pulled it all out. Now I'm just running some distilled water in here. I'm gonna turn it on a couple times, flush it, get it filled with some blue Honda coolant. Also another thing, this was the radiator cap that was on that old radiator. Obviously it's broken. The new one looks like it's in okay shape. Well, I'm letting the distilled water cycle. One thing I did off camera, I ceramic coated these wheels myself. Let's see if it worked. I've never done it before. Let's see. Oh yeah, it looks like it's like beating up, sliding right off. Cool. Looks like it worked out pretty good. It was really easy too. I'd even it on the inside. I don't know if you can see the little water beads sliding around. And I did it after the tires were mounted. That way the wheel weights don't have an issue sticking to the wheel. So we're done for today, guys. Just letting the car warm up. I want to make sure both the cooling fans work. And before that, I ended up going to my guy and had him dismount the two Falcons, and he put the other Federals on here. I'll get those thrown onto the car tomorrow. I'm also going to put on the lip that I still didn't get a chance to put on yet. And here's what I did with that spare Falcon tire. Just threw it on an extra SI stock I had. This used to have a 195/65, but it's huge. I had this in the back of Route 49 just as a spare, so I'll probably search for another stock and use the other tire for a spare as well. So when I was getting the lip mounted, I realized there's these other tabs that stick out. It's hard to get the drill from that angle, so I decided to remove it. It'll make it a lot easier for me to mount it on here at the same time. And then I drilled the little pilot holes for them already. And also while I'm at it, I'm gonna remove, it has these aftermarket like halo headlights, which I'm not a fan of. I'm gonna get the ones off of the LS. Those are OEM. We're gonna swap those over at the same time. And I was also thinking, this is a GSR intake. I'm gonna take this off today. It sticks up too high because the GSR manifold normally sticks down lower. I'm gonna get that removed, probably put this back into its original location, and just use like a regular intake arm. I'll probably keep that AEM filter though. Throw that on in here also. So now I'm going to work on getting this bumper off, remove these headlights. Take a look at the engine bay, guys. Look at all these cobwebs. This car had been sitting around out in some gravel road. There's a bunch of cobwebs up in here. When I was working on the suspension yesterday, there was a lot of them. There doesn't seem to be any of them living anymore, thankfully. I don't know if there's like black widows or any kind of spiders in there, but it always trips me out how they like to find their way into engine bays when cars have been sitting. After getting that AM one off, I have a couple options here that I'm going to use. Just pulled this one off the LS, and I had this one off the other parts car. Whichever one fits better, I'll throw on. I'm going to keep that AM filter on there if it fits the pipe. I ended up liking this intake arm from the LS much better. It fits great. I'm able to put the overflow back into its original location. I just moved the bracket. They had kind of put it over there on the little bracket, and wasn't able to use the AM filter. It's a little too small. Piping's a little smaller than this one. So I'm just going to buy a new filter because this one's probably really old. I like to have one a little bit newer, fresher. And I'll probably just sell this GSR specific one. If you're watching this video and own a GSR, I'll have it up here shortly. That's where we finish off today. Got everything done that I wanted to get finished for this video. I think the GSR looks really sharp now. I may play with the height a little bit more. I did raise it in the front a couple turns and then a few more in the back, leveled it out. I think I need to do this driver's side a little bit more, but looks great. Aggressive stance. Those headlights came out really nice. I'm glad I was able to source those off the other car, and those parts that it provided have been great for this particular build. And in getting this far in the video, I'm sure you guys have figured it out that I'm going to hang on to the GSR for now. I love it. It's a fantastic looking car. I think it can only get a little bit better if I add a little more mods to it. And it'll look really nice sitting alongside the Type R. Two really sharp looking examples of Integras. And next up for these cars, I'm going to work on removing and changing all the suspension bushings. And then I'm sure you guys are wondering, just like I am, which car is faster out of the two? I think I'll get Gabe over here one day and we'll get him out of the house, do a couple runs, get some really cool sound clips and footage of us doing a couple head-to-head battles and just seeing which motor ends up being stronger. Maybe the lower mileage 96 spec JDM engine, maybe the lighter weight Type R, but we'll see. I think it'll be a lot of fun to get out there and just have a little bit of fun in the cars, what they're intended for. And lastly, let's get the RPF ones put on the supercharged hatch real quick. Before putting the driver's side on, I wanted to see what the difference in weight was. I already know the older RPO one is kind of a hefty wheel, but wheel and tire on this weighed about 35, RPF one with the Federal weighed about 30, so 5-pound difference. Should feel a little bit more nimble up front with the lighter wheels on there. The RPF ones look awesome. I love it. Before it was crusty wheels and crusty paint. Now it's just crusty paint. I think it'll be nice once I finally have an opportunity to do something about the exterior of this car. I think it'll just make it look so much better. But we'll get there shortly. Still want to work on just getting it drivable and having a little bit of fun with it. So that wraps it up for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the new edition with the GSR. And we'll get back to some more videos on this car. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.